Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19 here on the Hagenstedt map. Let's get back to reliving the glory days. First to do that, combine and corn header, don't lease anything, then we harvest the corn, we sell the corn, because corn, I mean, we got 1,300 on that one over there. Best price I've seen for corn is 1,300. So anywhere above is 1327 actually. So basically it's 130 below that. So anything above 1200. So there's a price there at the ranch. That's 1200. So long as we can get above 1200 for corn, then we can sell the corn as well. And that should then be enough to buy another Power Stream 500. We need 32,000 for that. And then we've got our two combines with the headers that we need. And then our next issue is trying to buy that land over there. We're also going to be rolling back round to doing wheat and barley and oats, which means that we'll have 3 of them with straw. So we're going to be wanting to know what we do with our straw. Do I just go on and do the same that I did last time using our collection that we had? We had a class forage wagon. That one, it's not the fastest machine. It's a fairly steady old job. So maybe we will change that as well. We'll alter those because the speed of them was another thing. You look into the loading wagons in here. That one right there does 20k across the fields. 20s, 20. They're all doing 20k. The one that we've got, which is, it's actually that one, isn't it? Yes, that one only does 15k, so yeah, it's only 25,000, whereas that one's 46,000. I think we'd be better off buying it, though. This one here, what's your capacity? You're 24, so slightly less capacity, but it does do 25, it's actually a third faster, going from 15 up to 20. It's a third faster on the field, that's the bit that's going to make the difference, so I think that would be a worthy investment. Speed things up a little bit. Now the combine's back down this end with 62% in it. I'm going to just trail along beside it and we will take off the bit of grain that is in it. And then there's something else that I've been thinking about a little bit that I sort of thought, well, I don't know, I up until now I'd sort of dismissed this idea as thinking, well, no, we don't really want to go down that route. I'd like to sort of do things with just the normal farming, but something tells me that this may be a way to just kind of like speed along the initial expansion of the farm, because this is always an issue. Like, how do you expand the farm and keep things moving? Because in normal gameplay you can, anyone can do it. You just carry on doing whatever it is that you're doing in the game and you just keep pushing forwards. We just keep repeating and repeating and repeating until such time as we have earned enough money to do what we want. It's no problem when you're gaming by yourself doing a solo game to spend another 3 hours just sort of going and doing like another few crop cycles just to earn that little extra bit of money, maybe saving up the grains until we get a great demand, something like that. But I can't quite do everything like that because this is a let's play at the same time. So I've also got to try to keep things moving forward a little bit more than I would in just normal solo gameplay. Now, I'm not worrying about it too much because I know that a lot of you aren't all that concerned about it. You just want me to keep playing. But at the same time, it will start to get very, very tedious if all I do is just farm these 2 fields for quite some time and build up enough money to go and make several different purchases that I would like to go and make. Namely, a second combine followed by the field over here. I don't want to get that field before I get a second combine. That is just going to end up taking way too long to do any harvest, and we're going to be there forever. So second combine is definitely going to have to come first. But no, the other thing that I was looking at or thinking about was making some money with just basic money sitting there in the game. Now, at the moment, what we've got in here, we've got those items there as decoration sheds, silos, miscellaneous. I thought it would be under miscellaneous, actually. You know, it's not in here. I was looking for beehives. Now, I'm pretty sure I've got a beehive mod. I'm sure I've got a beehive mod. There, I've got a bee house mod right there. That earns me $25 an hour. And so $25 an hour over 4 hours is $100, which means that in a day of 24 hours, that's times 8, that's about $800 per day is what we're going to be earning with a beehive. So $800 in a day. 10 days is 8,000. 16 days is 10 days is 8,000. 20 days is 16,000. So 25 days to pay for the bee house. Takes 25 days to pay for the bee house. Now, we could also get some greenhouses, and you get money from these, you get $90 an hour, but you do need manure for those, and I want to get them, but I don't want to get them now. I want to get them later on. They work really well with just filling up with water. I think you get like half the amount of money if you just put water in them, and the water lasts for nearly 3 days, I believe. And then we've got solar panel options. Now, these are rather expensive. $820 an hour coming in from that solar panel right there. Costs us $150,000 to put it up. There's $400. That's $200 an hour. $205 an hour. I'm curious. I'm going to do this on the calculator. I'm typing it in right now. So we've got 75,000 divided by 205 equals 365 hours, which is 15 days. That one would pay for itself in 15 days. This one over here, that one we said 15 days to pay for itself. This one here is 10 and a little bit days to pay for itself for 100,000. This one here, $150,000 to buy that solar panel, gets us $820 an hour. That pays for itself in 7.5 days. That seems a little bit OP, but, you know, that extra money coming in would certainly help us out. That would be very, very nice to have that coming in. And then you've got this one here, which is 1.2 million. So I'm just going to type that into my calculator. 1.2 million divided by 1,500 gives us 800 hours, which is 33 days. So that one does take a little bit longer to pay for. I'm not too worried. And you've got a wind turbine there by Stevie, which is designed to get you lots and lots of money very, very quickly. That one, 220,000 divided by the 2,000 is 110. Divide that by 24. That pays for itself in just 4.5 days. That's 200. So that's a Stevie mod. That's designed to generate a large income very, very quickly. Possibly that could be something we could look at if we think things are running a little bit slowly around here. Mostly I was thinking about bee houses and greenhouses. You know, a bee house or two, it takes quite a while for it to pay for itself. It does end up trickling in some income for us. But the greenhouses, these are the ones that I wanted mostly. However, I wasn't going to build the greenhouses here. I was going to wait until I had bought the land up over here. I need to buy the cows, which are 160,000, and then there's this field here for 80,000. But buy that one, I would line that with greenhouses. That's what I used to do. I had loads of greenhouses on that one. And then you got a supply of manure from over here, and filling them up with water is relatively easy. You just get a big tanker, and you can just drive up alongside them every few days and top them all up. And that is a really, really good passive income, just with relatively little work. It doesn't take very long to load up the manure onto those. So, yeah, we've got some options here. Let's see if I can chase down that combine before he gets to the end of the row. We've got a few options there for passive income, which will help to speed things along a little bit. Now, at the moment, we're on $46,000, and that's ticking down. I've got the money to go and buy a greenhouse, if I wanted to. I've got the money to buy 2 bee houses, if I wanted to. Now, the bee houses, we know the income for the bee houses is quite limited. There is not a lot of money that's coming in from those bee houses. We're not going to be making a vast fortune out of it, and it is going to take a long time to earn it all back. We would get several harvests done before we earned back our money that we'd invested into the bee houses, which is why I'm kind of thinking that the bee houses aren't really the most suitable option for what I want to do. I'm going to leave the trailers just here, and then the combine can empty out into those trailers once it finishes this field now, and then it will be able to carry on up into the next field. Prices at the moment still doing all right with the transport company at 2946, so we definitely want to get that one underway on there. While that combine is finishing that bit off there, I'm going to run over here and find myself a tractor and a cultivator, and we're going to get it doing a little bit of work. I'm going to have you, as you're the more powerful tractor, and I'm going to reverse you in onto there and take that one, and off we go. And we are going to have you racing up and down the field, cultivating this field right here, making us a small fortune. So despite the fact that I would like to go and get these passive incomes and get something set up with a passive income, I'm still thinking that the combine is going to be our first purchase. So I'd like to purchase my second combine. I'm hoping I can do that with the grain we get from this. But then I am thinking that we go into the miscellaneous in here, and I personally like the greenhouses. I like the idea of getting some greenhouses fairly early on. The bee houses, not so much at the moment. I don't know how much you get from a greenhouse with just water in it. That one would be something that we'd have to test. Now, I personally prefer the look of the tomato greenhouses. I use those in the time-lapse series. I prefer that over the lettuce ones. So those are probably the ones that I would go and use. There is another tomato greenhouse over here, but it's on a raised platform. I don't like that one as much. So it'd be this one here that I would go for. I don't know what you would get with just putting the water in to start with. It could be interesting to find out. Maybe something that we could have a look at. I like the idea of having a couple of solar panels. I'm thinking that maybe the large one there that pays for itself in 7 days, despite that sort of feeling a little bit OP, I'm actually thinking that's not necessarily too OP. This one, so it's 15, 10 days, 7.5 days. I'm thinking that maybe 2 or 3 of those, or maybe 2 or 3 of those, would look quite good on the farm. I'm not going to go overboard on that. I'm not going to get loads of them so that we're earning tens of thousands every hour. I think that would be a little bit ridiculous. I'm thinking that I limit myself to a set amount of kilowatt hours. I'm thinking 10,000 watts. That's our limit on solar panels, is 10,000 watts. Which means that we could get 3 of these and 1 little one. Or we could line up 6 of these right here. That would take us up to 9,000 watts, and then we get 1 small one as well. I'm actually thinking that we could get 7 of those. So 500 watts over the limit on there. We have 7 of them, and that's going to be coming in. That's going to be a pretty decent income, actually. $2,870 per hour. Hang on, what is that per day? 2,000 times that by 24. Wow. Okay, that's 70,000, and that's just under 70 grand per day if I was to go and get those. If I was to invest in 7 solar panels, we're getting almost 70 grand a day. Maybe that's a little bit excessive. That might be seen as a little bit excessive by some of you. I'm not quite sure. I'm umming and eyeing on that one. I'm really not very sure which way I want to go on the whole solar panels thing. I think I might leave it for now. I mean, it is a source of income that could start to build up and accumulate over time, but mostly I'm thinking that like that seems to, the numbers start to become a little bit excessive. When you start adding them up, they do start to get a little bit excessive. So, I mean, maybe 10,000 watts is too much. Maybe I need to limit myself to 4,500 watts. So we can have one of those and one of those, or three of those right there. Maybe we just don't have the solar panels at all. Maybe that's just too much money coming in, and we stick to just a few beehives and some greenhouses. Because at least with greenhouses, we are having to do a little bit to earn the money from them. I don't know at the moment. I really don't. I'm not quite sure. Right, this one here has just got this little tiny thin strip to do up through there. Then we can unload that trailer, unload into the trailer, and we can get up to the top field. We may also be soon ready to go for a little run all the way down here to the transport company down here. As we're going to be wanting the trailer up in this field, I'm going to go this way. We're going to travel out there. We're going to go towards where the sheep pen is, and we're going to go along there. We're going to go down that road down there, and we're going to come, we'll probably go along around that one down here and towards where the transport company is. And why have you turned around like that? It's done this before. It has done this before. I'm not quite sure why. I've noticed it do this previously. Definitely thinking that the extra combine being our priority is a good idea. The speed at which we can combine our fields is a little bit limited, and especially now that the fields are bigger and we've got two of them, it's sort of, it's one of the areas that's slowing things right down, isn't it? Like, we are sort of dragging our heels here a little bit, waiting for this to finish. I was just checking to see if we've got any soybeans left in there. We don't. We have every single soybean we own now on combine or on trailer, at least the stuff that we've harvested. Oops, I don't want to do that. I want to put you out into there, and I want to offload this little bit. So I haven't quite filled up my two trailers yet. I've got a bit more to do to fill them all the way up, but we will. We will get them filled all the way up. Let's just bring you up to that end and fill up the front end of this trailer here a little bit. Right, we haven't got that much more to go to fill up that trailer completely. We'll have a look in a minute. Let's get this one up to the field. I'm keen to get this trailer down to the sale point and get it sold. I mean, it's just over 20,000 litres in there, and we're a fraction under $3,000 per 1,000 litres going on, because we've got the economy on the easy settings, which means that we're looking at 60 grand for that trailer load, which is enough to buy a combine. The only problem with buying a combine is that we also need to buy a header, and we don't have the money for that. But we should have the money to buy the header once we sell the rest of the beans from this field. So I'm going to do that so that we're going around the outside edge of the field, and I'm going to drop the AI vehicle extension in there. It's just going to calculate the outside width of the field, or at least that's what it should be doing. No, I need to just come forward a little bit too far away from the field. There we go. Right, now it's working. Right. You carry on there and go on around the field. I'm going to jump down to you. I'm just going to leave you cultivating on your own for a minute. I'm not going to worry about getting anything else going. And this one, I'm on 18,500. We have got just 3,000 litres of beans to go, and then we've got a full trailer load at almost 21,500 litres. We should be hovering around 60 grand, maybe a tiny fraction over 60 grand. It won't be much more than that, because you got to remember we're not getting 3 grand. It's $50 less than 3 grand per 1,000 litres. So, I mean, it's a good rate, but there are better numbers to be had. I was asked in a comment, now, by the time you watch this episode, this will have been a few weeks past, because I'm a couple of weeks ahead now on this series with my recording. It's why I've just talked about the solar panels, and I'm not planning to actually do anything about them until that episode airs. So you won't see any results to your solar panels for a little while. I'm trying to build up a collection of videos on a few of my series because I'm planning to have a little bit of time off at some point, because I got some other things that I need to do. So I need to take a break from recording for possibly a couple of weeks. But we'll see. I'm not too sure about that. That doesn't really matter. It doesn't really affect anything. Anyway, the AI vehicle extension has been asked about it and what I thought of it and how it compares to other things. Most of you know that I really love the AI vehicle extension. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I get on really well with it. It does have its faults. It does have problems. It's not completely without any issues whatsoever. However, I personally find this to be a vast improvement on Courseplay. I'm not a fan of Courseplay, and most of you have figured that out by now. I just don't like Courseplay very much. Yes, it does have merits, and there are benefits to it, and there are drawbacks to it as well. Like, if you set Courseplay to do a large, irregular shaped field with your combining, you get left with bits of crop that aren't harvested, right? You will always get left with little strips, little corners and bits that don't get harvested. That's the way of that is the nature of the beast that is Courseplay. You will get those bits, and there is nothing that you can do about it. AI vehicle extension, you don't get that because it doesn't set a predetermined course. AI vehicle extension figures out its track as it drives along. It deals with issues as it comes to them, and it sort of focuses on that. It doesn't do very well with objects in the middle of the field. It does struggle with objects in a field, so you will have you will face problems with the, like if you've got a telegraph pole stuck in the middle of the field, AI vehicle extension doesn't do very well at driving around it. There may actually be settings in it now that it can have switched on to deal with such problems. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember. The program was designed for combines. It works beautifully with combines. It works really, really, really well with combines. You can have them going around any shaped field just about. If the, like at the moment I've got the combine set going clockwise around the field, and if one of the turns, like it will turn really well if it's always turning to the right. If there is a turn to the left in the field, the combine will tend towards cutting across the corner to make less of a curve on it. It will try to do that every time. It will always try to reduce the curve as it goes around the field. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with this unless you've got a fence right up against where you're harvesting, or a stone or a tree or an object of some kind, in which case it won't recognize those objects and it will drive into it. So that is one major flaw with it, and that is the only major flaw. So if you've got any, as it's going on a clockwise turn around the field, if you've got any left-hand turns and you've got objects within, like on tight to that left-hand turn, you will encounter a problem, but that's the only problem that you will have. There won't be any other issues with it. You can leave it go, and if you know that that one particular little point is going to cause you a problem, then it's fairly easy to just, right, I need to make sure I keep an eye out for that and then correct it. Or just plow out a little bit further out from that corner so that you're not working in tight to it, and the combine will be fine. On your second pass around the field, it won't be a problem. It doesn't cut the corners so much that it goes across more than one plow line. It will be fine on the second pass. We want to go in round here. Let's not get too carried away here. Other than that, with combining, I've never had any issues with it. When you get down to the very last strip in the middle of the field, it does sometimes struggle with calculating the course when it's got to turn back on itself. If, and only if, you're using the setting where it's still going around and around the outside edge of the field. Say you're not leaving a windrow behind, and so you've just got the setting going where it's just going around in a continual circle. As you get right down to the very last bit, it may struggle to pathfind. So yeah, okay, so there is one slight little niggle with that, but I mean, generally by that point you've already set the combine to moving up and down in straight lines in the field because it's quicker and more efficient, so it's unlikely that that's going to become a problem for you. Beyond that, no issues. Alright, AI vehicle extension with combines is absolutely wonderful. However, with tractors, it's not so good. Originally, the whole program was designed just as a combining aid. It wasn't written with tractors in mind at all. They did release one. It was, I can't even remember what it was called. It was Harvest Helper or something. It was something to do with combines. And then there was a second one that was released later on that was for tractors. And it's never been as good. It's never been as good. Because of the wide variety of implements that you get with the tractors, it does struggle a lot more than the combine one. If you've just got a 3-point linked implement on the back of your tractor, it does tend to do that quite well. It's with trailed implements, it does struggle with that, especially with trailed implements where the work area is behind the wheels, such as the large seed drills and things like that. Really struggles with those. It doesn't work well with them at all, and you will probably have difficulties with it. So there are some issues with the tractor bit. And then later on, in later versions of the game, they combined the two versions of it into just one program, so you have the tractors and the combines working together. Now, it's still sort of inherently has the same issues that you get with the tractors. Like, there's always... It struggles with tractors. It's always struggled with tractors. I'm just going to drop that one back over there and empty that one out as well so that we can get all of it. That being said, it still does have merits. It still does work reasonably well. It's just that you've got to sort of learn to identify the bits where it struggles the most. $63,000 right there. That's not too bad at all. Plus, we've still got quite a bit to go with the soybeans, which means that we should easily be able to afford our second combine, plus a couple of headers for it as well. Whether I can afford to buy a new corn header at the moment, I don't know, because I'll be buying the combine, and I'll be buying a standard header like the one that we're using at the moment, and then only after that, if I can afford it, will I buy a corn header to go with it. But yeah, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get that one, because I still got to buy... Oh no, I've bought the corn header now for this one. We've already got that one. So yeah, that's AI vehicle extension. That's my thoughts with it. I don't generally use it for tractor work because it's not so good. There are points where it can be used. I think we've relived enough glory days just for a moment. We're going to take a breather. We're going to have a little bite to eat. And then we can get back to it, nice and refreshed, and relive a few more glory days. There should be some names coming up right now that you can have a look at. It's names of people who are in the Great Book of Names, people who have supported this channel, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. So if you've enjoyed this episode, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.